Hello, Gary Hernandez here, and welcome to Cane Self-Defense with Master Gary Hernandez. In this video, I want to answer a question that a gentleman by the name of Anthony asked me. And Anthony asked me about thin, light canes. What is my thought on them? Well, Anthony, I have several different small, light, thin canes that aren't, they're not from any major manufacturers. They're either a piece of tree that somebody made into a cane, or basically a novelty cane like this one, and I'll kind of go over each one of these. And all three of these are not worth much money at all. They're just basic canes that somebody either gave me or I ran across them at either like a thrift store, flea market, yard sale, something like that. Because I go around to all those places looking around for old stuff. And then you want to find some old cool canes, go to some flea markets, go to some yard sales, thrift stores, look around and you'll find some old canes. Some are really cool looking, and if you like to collect them, it's a good spot to start looking. Now, these three canes right here are probably my thinnest and least, are definitely not valuable canes. Now this one here is, and I'm not even sure the history of a lot of these canes. I've had them for so long. Some were, like I said, given to me. This one here is basically, it's kind of like from what do you call that? Oh, I'm having a brain freeze right now. It's from like a bamboo tree. And basically somebody cut it and kind of cut into it and made it a cane. It's not, down here, it's not cut very good. It's kind of sharp and where it's going to cut you. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. Now it does have those knots, which makes for a great handle, and it's a very small crook. And this was actually, I believe, given to me by somebody. This one here, it's another, somebody cut it, small part of a tree and made a little bit of a cane. Again, not very level cut at the end. They kind of made a little bit of a point down here. A little bit bigger. You can hook somewhat of a neck. You're going to dig into them. But again, it's not very valuable at all. And then this one, I do remember where I got this one. I got this at Tarpon Springs for $2. This is a little whale cane. You see these everywhere when you go down to Tarpon Springs or you go somewhere like that. They're only $2. Now, this is the only one of the three that even has a tip on it. And it has a couple little notches that you can kind of hold for a finger grip. Now let me kind of go over what you can do and not do with small, thin, cheap canes. Number one, if you're going to walk around with it, we want to make sure the cane supports our weight. Now each one of these canes will support my weight, but they flex a bit. And I'll tell you that with the pros and cons of using each one of these. This one here also supports my weight. It flexes. And the same with this one here. It'll support, maybe not, it'll support my weight and it flexes. Now, being the fact that they don't have tips except for this one, it's going to be hard to find some tips that'll fit these perfectly. You might not find the right size if you have a small, unique style or self-made cane. So you may not have the tips. You may have to actually, they do have small tips and bigger tips, so you might either have to find one smaller and whittle it down a little bit to get it on there, or a little bit find one bigger and kind of glue it in. Now what's good about having the tip is the fact you're not going to hear when you're walking that clunk, 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 and it's going to allow you to have a rubber tip so it's kind of catch a little bit. What's also good about not having a tip on there is the fact that when I go to hit somebody, I don't have that soft area slowing down my impact and giving a little bit of a buffer between my strike and their body. So if I'm doing a two-hand bayonet strike and I don't have a tip on there, I have nothing but wood, they're going to feel that little tiny concentrated strike a lot harder. And actually, you're going to be able to bust a rib pretty darn easy. And being that these are not very cut very well and they have kind of a rugged edge, I'm liable to tear into the flesh a bit as well. So even when I'm striking, if I'm striking somebody, like with a rubber tip and you hit somebody in the face, that rubber hits them, they may get that rubber like burn or that strike. When you don't have a rubber tip and you're slashing, it's like you're whipping somebody because it's very fast. And if you listen, you can hear that little. So when I hit them, I'm going to do what's called a pressurized cut. So I could cut into the face, cut into the body, because there's no tip down there, and I'm kind of just giving them a slicing blow with it. So it'll cut somewhat into the flesh. But then again, when I ram each one of these, it's going to hurt a lot more. Now, the cane itself, depending on what kind of tree or wood or whatever they make it out of, if someone's, remember, they don't have like a regular traditional cane that you get somewhere that's a lot bigger in diameter, a lot heavier, able to hold up more of an impact from someone swinging another cane or a piece of wood or a bat. And I don't recommend standing there anyway. I always like to redirect it. You're gonna, you know, this one here, if I stand still, obviously some of these are gonna break. Bamboo is gonna probably be the better of the two. This one here, I'm not sure. I can tell you right now, this one here is gonna crack like a toothpick. These $2 canes that you see at Tarpon Springs, they're cute looking, nice to collect, but let me explain something. It's a $2 cane. It's gonna break. So you do have that gentleman style hook, but let me talk about each of these canes really quick. Now, this one here that's a little bit stronger, and I believe this one here is bamboo. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it is. Can't remember. Like I said, some of these were given to me. Some of these I did purchase. So this one here, with the knots, it allows me to be able to hold on, even though I'm going to slide a little bit if my hands are sweaty, and I can always put the Ranger bands or tape it up or whatever I want to put around there. But these knots will allow me to keep my hands in a good position without them sliding too far. So I can do the rifle strike. I can do the hit. I can do the nice two-hand bayonet strike. The horn, obviously, we're not going around nobody's neck with this, but I can still kind of hook an arm a bit and redirect it, and I can still strike to the throat, to the groin, and hammer down a little bit. Doesn't have the powerful impact of a bigger cane, but through speed, I'm going to develop power, and it's going to cause injury. So there's stuff I can do with this one. Going to the next one, that's probably the next one that was a little not as strong as that one, but moving down a little bit, and you can see that flexes a bit. Eventually this would crack. This one here, again, somebody, I don't even remember where I got this one at. I know I put some Ranger bands around it to give it a little bit of holding on there. But again, it has no tip, so I'm back to the same thing. I can kind of cut into the face or cut into the body because it's a little sharp here on the edges when you hit. I'm hoping to get that pressurized cut. Very hard to see when I'm swinging it. So that's another good thing. But again, hitting the ribs and stuff with no tip, it's gonna hurt quite a bit. On the crook itself, coming down, still gonna hurt wherever I hit them. This one is a little bit bigger, so it can go around my neck. It goes in tight. And so when you hook that neck, so you're gonna dig into them a bit, but you still have that ability. The problem with a tight crook going around the neck with the horn here is the fact that if you get stuck, to release that person, you got to learn how to catch and release sometimes so you don't fall down or get dragged down. Now, also, you know, you can do all your strikes everywhere you want to go. So this one here, again, not too bad. You can, you know, work with it. Moving to the third one that I have, that's the smallest and thin one, El Cheapo here, the $2 one. Yeah, I'm not even going to hit it hard because I know this is going to crack. So a good solid hit maybe, but if I come down real hard, I'm liable to crack it. Second hit might break it. Then I have to use the charred engine to stab somebody. But yeah, this wood here is not strong at all. And with the whale being kind of like a derby style handle, I do have the luxury of striking and catching. But when I'm hammering down or coming down this way, I can honestly tell you after a solid hit, this whale is going to separate from this cane. So you're going to probably get 1, 2 maximum swings at the most before this thing breaks off. And again, it has a little bit of a rubber tip, so you still can strike and still swing and hit. But again, cheap, small, thin canes. Is there anything wrong with them? No, not at all. You know, if you like to collect canes like I do, you're going to get all sorts. It's what you want to carry in the street. Will this bring attention to you? It's cute. This one, this is a butt ugly cane. I'm sorry, it really is. Nothing really, you know, it's just butt ugly. But it's a cane nonetheless. I collect them. This one's a little bit unique and has the knots in there. So yeah, you can use any one of these to defend yourself. Again, they're not going to hold up to much damage. But in a nutshell, several strikes to get you away and then move on, and they did their job. So I suggest always, pick up some cheap canes to add to your cane collection. If you like to collect, you're gonna, if you like collecting $100 canes, get some cheaper ones too. Have a variety. If you like collecting canes, get some that look old and used and put them in your collection. But work out with them, practice with them, practice swinging them. You're going to see how quick and light they are. So, Anthony, hopefully that does answer some of your questions. Yes, you can use them in a pinch for self-defense. I'd recommend, if you are going to carry a permanent cane for self-defense, get something a little bit more stronger and thicker. Because like I said, when you look at the difference in the diameter of the cane, you're going to definitely see how the standard canes are a lot bigger. So hopefully that does help. Give some people some ideas about some older canes or some kind of off-the-wall novelty canes or unique canes or basically crappy-looking canes. Gary Hernandez, thank you, and I will see you guys very soon.